Thank you, Sarah. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity to be part of this fantastic event. I am enjoying a lot. I'm very glad to be here. I am a risk advisory consulting partner from Deloitte. I work with risk advisory practice for almost 20 years. I am based on Brazil, at the Northeast region of Brazil. And I also lead the innovation area for risk management in Deloitte, Brazil. So I'll share a couple of slides, just 4 or 5 slides, and our agenda will be third-party risk management. We will talk a little bit about complex networks and how the technology can help in extended enterprise risk management. To take a look beyond the company, the enterprise walls, and see what's happening, what's going on in their supply chain, their external stakeholders. So it's really a complex network for any industry. We're talking about some challenges that are in all industries. In the mining industry, we saw a brilliant presentation right now. In the retail industry, in the financial industry, every industry has at this moment more connected business and are more dependent from third parties. So technology is the key to manage the third-party risk management. At this point, we are seeing that business is more connected than ever, and all stakeholders are more dependent. Without technology, it's impossible to manage the third-party risks and to see what's going on in all the chain that are helping the organizations to provide their services, to manage their process. From the research and development partners to the raw material providers, to technology suppliers, to joint ventures, customer support partners that help the company to manage with their clients, facilities providers, human resources contractors. All organizations are fully with a lot of suppliers. And the risks that start with the suppliers is the base of our theme, of our agenda at this conversation. From Brazil, we have a special issue related to ESG risks. Think that Brazil produces more than 10% of the grains consumed in the world. Maybe in your lunch now you will eat some food that was produced in Brazil or in India, Brazil, or China, that are responsible for more than 30% of the human consumption of food. Imagine the complexity for a retailer in London to ensure that the suppliers that produces the raw material that they display in their shelves in the stores did not illegally clear forests. Think about the complexity of the restaurant that you are going to have your lunch. If the suppliers that produce the food that you are eating did not use some illegal workforce, from illegal forms of workforce. Traceability of food that are sold in stores is a matter of third-party risk management. How can you guarantee that you are not blind regarding the risks that your suppliers can bring to your business? That's what we're talking about here, and how technology can help to manage these risks. It's a matter of positive ethical impact. We're seeing that it's not just technology. We're seeing that it's a behavior that must be enforced to all the supply chain. The compliance programs must be enforced for all the supply. It's a matter of regulatory risks. We are seeing some regulators increasingly taking a look at the integrated chain. So you are not just responsible for the risks that your company are exposed, but also the risks that your supplier is exposed, and to manage the efficiency of your supply chain. It's also a matter of efficiency. The greater the dependence, the greater the risks. Third-party risk management can bring business interruption. You can have some disruptions in your production if you don't have the resources that your suppliers can bring to you. Regulatory penalty or loss of license is very common when you don't deal with suppliers that can minimize your risks. Reputational damage, we're seeing every night and every day companies that surprisingly shows reputational damage from their suppliers. Investor pressure, we're seeing the importance of ESG matters. So you are not just responsible for your operations. And customer not awarding tenders. We now have the more responsible consumption culture that can affect our revenues if we don't manage the risks of our third parties. And how can we do it? How can we combine the solutions and the resources for efficient third-party risk management? First of all, we must combine leading-edge technology with a human touch. Some issues like the interpretation of legal and behavioral teams requires a human touch, a human eye. The technology is at the center of this discussion, but the human touch will be necessary for this process. Global industry expertise. The risks are different from different industries. So third-party risk management for a financial industry is different from the manufacturing industry. To share ethical values, it's not just a matter of technology. To share the ethical values is very as important as the technology. And to have the best brakes. The best car have the best brakes. So to push faster, you don't need to compromise safety. How the third-party risk management program could be summarized? It's a holistic and global view that starts with the inventory of the third-party types, suppliers, resellers, alliances, service providers, and for each third-party types, we must set the risk domains. For each third party, we must access the bribery risks, data privacy risks, labor rights, health and safety risks, subcontractor risks, information security, financial health of the supplier, of the third party, and business continuity. How can this third party affect my business continuity? For each risk domain, we must set an operational model to monitor and regularly access the risks from the third party. All of this must be supported by technology. And how this technology works, this slide shows a set of 10 automation platforms that can be used to manage the third-party risk management. First of all, to perform third-party due diligence, the integrity due diligence, seeking in public data stores, public data source of data, we can find important information to perform due diligence from the third party. Second, to store and retrieve evidence for each assessment. Thinking about a retailer, you must have thousands of suppliers that can be that must be managed, and you must have a powerful source to store and retrieve evidence for each assessment. Third-party questionnaires, you must set a process of self-assessment for the third party, customized reports and dashboards so you can see the results and the risk level for each supplier, reports to show transparency with the third party, to show for them their profile and what they must do to perform action plans and reduce their risks. Assessments, a chart of trends with predictive risks to show the expected risk in the future for the supplier, and a user-friendly interface to see the results in the platform. These are some examples of technology that can be used, and the way that it works is basically based in three big structures. The first structure is assessment of data. So you must perform some assessments, considering self-assessment from the third party, considering also some assessments performed by independent agents like consultants or auditors. You must use external data. We have, as we saw in the last presentation, a huge information that we can use to access the third-party management, the third-party risks. So there is a lot of public data source that can be used to analyze and perform due diligence of integrity for the suppliers, and at the end to classify the risks from the third party. All of this supported by analytics dashboards and reports that can show the results of your supply chain risks, and to manage the action plans that you can provide after the access of the risks. For the end, I would like to show the last Deloitte annual global survey regarding extended enterprise risk management. Six big issues that was the result of this survey. First of all, the cost of failure. The cost to control is high, but the cost of failure is higher than the cost of the control. The cost of failure in third-party risk management is increasing, especially when we talk about the regulatory risks. In every countries, not just here in Latin America, the regulators are transferring to the company the responsibility to manage their supply chain. So the regulatory activity is increasing day by day, and it's elevating the cost of failure. Balancing responsibility and cost. It will be a challenge forever to balance the right cost with the right risk management. A vision for transformation. We are seeing the ESG call for action from the society, from the regulations. So it must think about the future, and the company must think about how will be their supply chain in the future. Leveraging external assistance. The source of data is huge, and in some cases you need external assistance, and to get the big picture, to see a wider focus, not only see your nowadays providers, you must see in some cases more than your suppliers. You might see your customers, you might see your competitors, and your industry at all, to see how you are positioned regarding the extended enterprise risk management. So I tried to put everything in 10 minutes, but I think that we could now discuss, and I am here for some questions.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Edson. So everybody, if you want to put your hands together to say a big thank you or obrigada to the fabulous Edson in Brazil. Now, Edson, we've got time for a couple of questions. So one comes in from your friend, Rodrigo, and he asks you, what are some of the main challenges faced whilst implementing these technologies within businesses? For example, considering proprietary data sets and also resistance to change. What do you think?
The data is not the big challenge. Data is, we have a large source of data to manage the third-party risks. The big challenge is cultural, because it's difficult to set a culture of third-party risk management, because a huge number of executives just think about the risks from inside the company. It's a culture to stop dealing with a supplier that has the best commercial condition, but does not have the best integrity statement. So it's a culture matter, because the resources, the data is available. It's not a challenge.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you for that. So it's about the culture. Okay, it's not necessarily about that data being the problem. And one final question. One of our speakers this morning fairly bullishly said that contractor management being done by people will no longer be the case in the fairly near future. Actually, contractor management is something that can be done by machines fairly rapidly. Would you agree with that statement?
Totally. For the contract management, I think that we have technology to perform better than human. But there is one thing that we should never forget: the human touch will be forever necessary to calibrate for some issues, especially when you are dealing with third-party risks. But to manage contracts, I think I totally agree that we have technology now to manage the contracts with the solutions that we have now.
Perfect. Well, with that, thank you very much, Edson. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Another final round of applause. Thank you very much. Brilliant.